The 2024-2025 shark season has thankfully come to an end.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today, it's over. We made it, kids. We survived another season of San Jose Sharks hockey. We're going to kind of talk about the biggest takeaways from the season because the Sharks, it was 3-0, guys. In a game that everyone was ready to go home. So we're going to be talking about the biggest takeaways from this season. Talk about Logan Couture having his moment here. And then I reveal my official awards ballot. Yes, they let this jabroni also vote for some reason in the awards ballot. So let's start with the biggest takeaways. And again, the game. The Sharks lost 3-0. The offense couldn't do anything. Stuart Skinner wasn't tested very much, and everyone just wanted to go home. So, if you were looking for a breakdown of this game, I'm sorry. We are all ready, I think, to look ahead. So my biggest takeaways from this season is, yes, this team still finished last. And we talked about yesterday why I thought this was a successful season. But this team still finished last. But the direction of the franchise, you have to feel so good about where this team is heading, right? You've done the hard part. You found your superstar in Macklin Celebrini, and you've found the foundational pieces for this rebuild, at least among the forward group here. Going into the season, right, the whole thing was just how do Celebrini and how do Smith play in their first season, and how does William Macklin kind of jump from year one to year two, right? And I don't know how you can't walk away from this season and just feel good about where this franchise is heading, because that was this whole season was just about starting to kind of set up for going forward, and just like getting these young guys going. So, that doesn't mean the Sharks don't have plenty of work, and we'll spend plenty of time this offseason looking at how the Sharks are going to approach this offseason, not only for short-term success, but again, to build that sustainable success. And that's, if you're new to Locked On Sharks, but that or not, that's a term that you're probably going to hear a lot from me this offseason, is building towards sustainable success, right? Because again, we don't want to be that flash in the pan team, right? We don't want to be the Kraken who make the playoffs one year and then kind of feel like they're wandering the desert, right? You want to work to be the next Avs team. You want to work towards being the next Lightning team. You want to work towards being, the next team that is in it every year. And that's what we're working towards. And this season felt like you took that first step towards being that team, right? We have the guys who we feel like are going, the start of it. We have Celebrini, who feels like, people already want to anoint him the captain. People, you feel like you have the guy in Celebrini, right? And Will Smith taking massive steps this year. Remember you think back to October, November with the Will Smith Discord, and now you look at Will Smith, and is Will Smith the third, fourth best? He's no worse than the fourth best forward on the team, right? Celebrini, Toffoli, Eklund, Smith, however you want to arrange them. Those are your four that you would. We went from this guy shouldn't even be in the league to now he's the fourth. And granted, the Sharks have taken a lot of pieces out of the forward group, but still, I think that's a lot more to his growth and development. And you look at the pipeline, and you look at seasons, like Sam Dickinson had, and Luca Cagnoni had, and like Quentin Musty had. I know his season was a little weird, but you look at some of these pieces, and Kasper Haltonen, and Carson Wetch, who's looks like he's going to be a solid scoring threat for San Jose at some point, and like just all these pieces, and of course Askarov, and like I think my biggest takeaway is yes, the season's still like the on ice product was not up to par, which is fine, right? But it's just such a huge jump from last year, of just watchable hockey, something to like entertaining hockey. I mean, how many times did we come? I have to come on a show last year after the Sharks lose 7-2, and try to come up with stuff to talk about because it just was. It wasn't fun last year. And this year, again, they won one more game. They had, I think, like 5 more points this year than last year. But it was just a much more enjoyable experience this year because of the direction that this team is in. And I think you can clearly say that we have started to crawl out of the basement here. Or at least, we're fumbling around for the light. We found the stairs, and we're starting to work our way out of the basement, I think is a fair assessment for this team, right? After spending the 23-24 season of just in utter darkness, with that, like just the whole season, right? Was just Celebrini. Can we get to Celebrini? Can we put ourselves in position to get Celebrini? And now this year is like we have Celebrini, and he was better than we expected, right? Realistically, Macklin Celebrini, I think, surpassed every expectation that we had for him this season. Will Smith, right? Got his butt kicked for the first half of the season, and he came out a better hockey player for it. And, William Macklin, right? You start to surround William Macklin with talented players. Looks what happens to William Macklin. He continues to play better hockey, and his counting stats go up. It feels so much better. It just feels so much better. That's my biggest takeaway from this season is just we've gotten through the hard part. And again, there's still a long road. Like this team is not going to make the playoffs. I would be really shocked if this team made the playoffs. And again, we have a whole off season to discuss that. But you just you're seeing the steps and you're seeing the improvement. And again, they're building towards that sustainable success where you feel like Celebrini and Smith, are going to be those foundational core pillars of your franchise. And they're going to be here forever, right? They're going to be your next Marlows, your next Thorntons, your next Pavelskis, your next Coutures. Your guys are going to be here for the long run because you drafted and developed these guys, and they have proven rather quickly that these are going to be the guys. And hopefully the hope is that they can finally do the thing that none of the other guys who ever put on a Sharks jersey were able to do, right? And that's win the whole thing. And that's what we're working towards, right? And you feel like Mike Grier has done he's done a lot of work to clean up where this franchise was, give it a direction, and put us in the path. And we're very early in that path, but we've got the map. We've started taking some steps. And this offseason is going to be super fun. When was the last time you thought about that with a Sharks offseason where it's just like this offseason is going to be super fun? Like the Sharks have a bunch of cap space that they have to spend, right? You have to spend at least $20 million just to get to the cap floor. You're going to have a top 3 pick. So you're, the hope is you're getting either Matthew Schaefer or Michael Misa, right? The two best guys in the draft. You're hopefully getting one of those guys. And you still have a ton of other cap space and cap pick or draft picks that you can do whatever you want with. And you have Askarov coming next year. You have Sam Dickinson maybe potentially playing NHL games next year. You have Luca Cagnoni, who, maybe he graduates to be an NHL player next year. Like, I'm excited. And I think that's it's been a long time since we as Sharks fans can truly say, I'm excited to watch San Jose Sharks hockey next year. So yeah, that's my biggest takeaway is great. Still a lot of losses, but we're working our way towards being entertaining and competitive next season. So fun and frisky, kids. We're officially fun and frisky. So we're going to talk about Logan Couture, though. Kind of touch on his press conference, touch on, tonight, the moment that he got. And I'm really glad that he was able to get that moment with the fans and, kind of having maybe that last moment in the SAP Center. So we'll get to that, and then I'll reveal my awards ballot. Again, they let me vote for some reason, but we'll get to that here in just 1 second. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking your favorite team, go Warriors, or diving into player props. Steph Curry doing Steph Curry things. What more could you want for? Or playoff Jimmy, dude. He's a different guy. Plus, the cool thing is after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, before we continue, we talk about Logan Couture. I do, of course, want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Again, I know the season's over, but off-season Locked On Sharks, just like playoff Jimmy, different animal here as we armed with $40 million in cap space, a top 3 pick, and plenty of options to start to build towards that sustainable success. Make sure you are following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Logan Couture. So we did the whole, Logan Couture episode the other night. If you missed that, you can go check out, kind of my thoughts on it. And I did want to kind of go back to back, especially with the press conference. And I'm kind of glad I waited because seeing him tonight get that moment, right? It's been an emotional day, and the way emotional, past week or so is he finally kind of, I think, came to grips of what's happening here, right? Of a player who, he mentioned it, he's been playing hockey. He's had a hockey stick in his hand since he was 3. Couture's 38, right? 36, 38. So he's, that's a long time. I guess he is 36. Sorry. 36. I'm doing math. That's 33 years. That's a long time to be doing something you love and then not be able to do it anymore. And I thought tonight, the fans, everybody, when they showed in him, they did the little video, right? And thank you, Captain, and everything. And everybody giving the stick taps, the Oilers and the Sharks fans and every fan, clapping and stuff. And you saw all the Couture jerseys. And just that moment for him, I think of maybe just that moment of closure, getting that one last hurrah for a guy who, again, didn't get to choose when he got to hang him up, unfortunately. So I am really happy that he was able to get that moment there and have that moment. And, they had him on the broadcast there for a little bit to kind of talk about it and, kind of talk about some of his favorite moments and stuff. And, he kind of repeated a lot of the same stuff they did at the press conference. But I'm just glad that they were able to kind of have Couture here right for that one last moment. And it would have stunk if he kind of did it over the summer, right? And was like, hey guys, I'm stepping away from hockey. I can't do this anymore. And then, the new season starts and the teams, like, again, it's very much like the future is teal. We're looking at the rookies and stuff, but just not really kind of giving him a chance to have his moment to say goodbye. And I thought the Sharks did a great job. They always do a great job with this stuff, right? Of the anytime that they have these moments, right, where it's whether the Joe Thornton or Patrick Marleau jersey, like retirements or whatever. Like the Sharks organization just does an amazing job with these. So I thought Couture spoke very well about it. He held it together better than I thought he would. I mean, I was at work watching it, and like tears were kind of coming to my eyes watching him, talk about this and the process of going through it, and just how much he would, get a couple good days, and then it would just kind of go back to zero with him. And then hearing Mike Greer talk about it, and you could tell like Greer was barely, and if you've ever heard Mike Greer talk, or if you ever talked to Greer, he's very like in control of the situation. Like he's going to give you exactly what he wants to give you. And he's going to not give you any more. Like he's usually very, very in control of the situation when he talks. And it was nice to see Mike Greer vulnerable there a little bit and, kind of choking up a little bit. And I did love the, you have a job here whenever you want with San Jose. And the Sharks have done a very good job of, keeping the alumni in-house, right? You think of Ricci, who's been here forever. You see Marleau working, you see Nabokov, who again been here forever. Joe Thornton, who they still haven't officially given a title to, other than like he's just Joe Thornton, Jumbo, director of vibes, but like we still have it, like just having these guys around, and especially with such a young franchise. And I know Couture is going to take some time, right? And I think you could tell how much he was talking on the broadcast, how much he loved being there, but at the same time, the struggle to be there because it's still so fresh. And even though he hasn't played in 2 years, that decision is still very fresh for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of takes some time to himself, and then in a couple years we see him kind of pop back up. So he's not going to do the on ice stuff, but you could see him being a consultant, or maybe like a Ryan Clote, right? Ryan Clote, assistant GM kind of thing. Would you be surprised if Couture eventually kind of goes into that role? I wouldn't, if he's kind of more of a front office person, and then, is kind of giving advice to the, to the younger players, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'm really happy. I also seeing all the Oilers players at the end, like kind of, come out and like wait in line and shake his hand and stuff. And the moment with Corey Perry, also Sharks fans love continue the Corey Perry hate. It was great moment that those two guys are embracing everything, and you're still booing the crap out of Corey Perry. It's what, like, those ties run deep. Those ties run deep with Corey Perry. So great moment there. But yeah, I do think like I'm happy for Couture. I think he does seem at peace. It is still fresh. And I'm like I said, I'm just glad he was able to get that one last moment with the fans, seeing everybody in teal, and kind of be excited for him. I wish the on ice product was a little bit better tonight, but it was good to see. Like they showed a bunch of Couture jerseys, and you could tell like everybody was just there to celebrate him and his career. And Joe Thornton, man, that guy, he's an emotional dude. I think Drew Remenda said, does Joe Thornton cry during commercials now? But yeah, it was good to see everyone just kind of be there and celebrate. Let's give Couture the send off that he honestly deserves. And I think where he ranks in the Sharks, that's probably a conversation for a different day, among all-time Sharks greats. But he's among the forwards. He's up there, man. It's Thornton, Marleau, Pavelski, like Nolan, Couture. He's up there, man. Like he's definitely up there when you look at production, longevity, et cetera, et cetera. He's in the like maybe not the Thornton Marleau tier, but definitely, I think, in that tier right below them. He's right in there. So, but happy for you, Logan Couture. Enjoy retirement. Hopefully you can get back to getting on the golf course here soon, and to get back to just being healthy and just pain free. So I think everybody's rooting for you for that, and really happy. Yeah, like I said, really happy for him. So we're gonna finish up here. My awards ballot as we go through the Sharks. They had their, as they always did in last game, have their official awards. I'll reveal my awards ballot, kind of talk about all that. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Just turn any TV into a gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA, Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25. Super fun. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Avowed, which I actually just finished playing. As easy as you stream your favorite shows. Is gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Plus, with 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribe services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Great thing with the 4K TV, especially with the Xbox, right? You just put if you're like me, right? You have the TV downstairs. Maybe you put the Amazon Fire TV on the TV upstairs. You can play a little bit before you go to bed. You don't have to buy a second Xbox or lug the Xbox up there. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation, Fire Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube, third generation. All right. Before we finish up, do of course want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, check out all new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Especially with the playoffs starting on Saturday, you want to keep up. Perfect way to keep up. Right after all the games end, they got you covered over there. So we had our official awards ballot. So just as a quickly go through them, Macklin Celebrini was awarded the Sharks Rookie of the Year and the Sharks Player of the Year, which I think was pretty easy. For those, we also had Mario Ferraro. He was awarded the Media Good Guy Award of the Year. He's now the two-time winner of that. He won it last year and this year. That one is, vote like those three awards are all voted on by the Sharks media, myself included. They also announced their prospect of the year, which was Sam Dickinson. We don't vote on that, but I'll give you my three in order of how I would rank them if I had to vote. So let's start with the player of the year. So like I said, Macklin Celebrini did win that award. And that's who I voted for as well. So my votes for the player of the year. Number one, I voted Macklin Celebrini. You guys vote for three here. Number two, I voted William Eklund, second on the team in points. I think made a big jump this year. I believe his consistency this year, he was you saw his role grow. He was playing in all situations for the Sharks. I think had a very, very good second season for San Jose. So he was my second. He was the runner-up for me for the player of the year. And then third, I voted for Tyler Toffoli. Led the team in goals, was a huge influence, especially on Celebrini and Will Smith there, and kind of, just that veteran leadership and maturity, and very easy to see like just how important he was to the Sharks this season. So those are my three there. And, I think you could maybe make an argument for Will Smith, but, if Granlund was still here, like he would definitely be in the mix as well. But I think it's pretty like cut and dry who the best player for the Sharks was this year, and it was Macklin Celebrini. So, like it was to me at least is pretty cut and dry. So, for the Sharks Media Good Guy Award, I also voted for Mario Ferraro. In that, like the way he comes out, he's always as tries to be honest. How many times do we see Ferraro out there after a tough loss, answering questions to the media, like all that? Like he's definitely one of those guys who, he'll answer the tough questions. He'll kind of take the heat and talk about kind of try to defend some of the younger guys and stuff. And always is very positive with the media. Always is very like that's kind of what this award is. I did vote Tyler Toffoli second, kind of the same thing, right? Of his role with the organization here, of being, in the way he interacts with the media. I know Max also voted for him number one. I don't know what everyone else voted for, but like Toffoli, I think it's pretty clear the way things are heading. If I had to guess that he's going to be the next captain of the Sharks, probably announced at some time this summer or beginning of training camp, something like that. So I think that's how things are going to go here. I also voted Alex Wenberg third, kind of the same thing, right? Of the kind of the Toffoli thing of, being put in a kind of a tough spot, answering a lot of the tough questions, especially after some tough nights. So I put him third on my list. And then the rookie of the year, of course, it was Macklin Celebrini number one, Will Smith number two. If there's another option there, I think Colin Graff would be the third out of everybody else. You could maybe convince me for Askarov. I just don't think he played enough games to kind of warrant it. And I know Colin Graff only played like half a season, but you could maybe toss up between those two. But I think Colin Graff, though, just edge in games. And I think he was really coming on at the end of the season and getting better and better. And that's a big part of it, I think, too. It's just how you've improved from beginning of the season to the end of the season. And Colin Graff's approval, he's really good. So for the prospects, again, we don't vote on that. Sam Dickinson won. Sam Dickinson would have been my choice as well. Absolutely stellar season with the London Knights this year, right? Like was one of them. I think Zane Prek was the only player who scored more points than him in the OHL this season, and Prek played a lot more games than Sam Dickinson did as well. You see how important he is. He's playing 30 minutes, and like we don't get the actual time, but it feels like he's playing 30 minutes a night for London, and is well on his way to, I think playing NHL games next year, and that'll be a conversation for the summer of Sam Dickinson and where he fits in and stuff. But I would have him number one. I'd have Luca Cagnoni number two. Cagnoni was named to the AHL All-Rookie team. I know Nick Nolan said that's the first time a Barracuda player has been named to the AHL All-Rookie team since like Daniel Regan way back in the day. Luca Cagnoni, I mean, just what else can we talk about with Cagnoni? Absolutely brilliant season in the Barracuda. I told you guys don't bet against Cagnoni. So he'd be my second pick. And then my third, if I was kind of going prospect of the year, I'm not including Askarov in this because I don't think it's really fair. I'm trying to skew younger in this, but I mean, Chernyshov it's tough not to include Chernyshov. I know we only played a third of the season. Chernyshov is definitely. I think I'm gonna go with Chernyshov as my third guy there. Like a lot of the other guys, Musty kind of play. I know Musty played a little bit more games, but definitely didn't have the season he wanted. Right, Chernyshov was dynamic for Saginaw and scored a bajillion points for them. Yeah, I think I would go Chernyshov as my third prospect if I had to kind of like rank all the prospects this season. So, but yeah, we finished another season, kids. I do want to take like a second. Personally, thank you guys. Easily my most successful season hosting Locked On Sharks, like views and downloads and interactions, and just kind of the vibes of the podcast and where this is going. And it's you guys, right? You guys who come back every day or come back as often as you can, and keep this thing going, because it's as I've said a bajillion times, like I'm an idiot behind a microphone, and for some reason you guys keep coming back. So I do want to thank you guys. It means a lot. It truly does mean a lot too, that you guys keep coming back and we keep building this thing, and that hopefully it can keep taking on. When the team starts to get good, we get more and more fans and stuff, and this thing can really start to take off. So thank you guys. I appreciate every one of you guys, except for Half Wall Hockey. That guy's a jerk. Anyway, I'm just seeing if he's paying attention right now. So love you, Keegan. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. I have something really fun planned for tomorrow. Like, you're not going to want to miss tomorrow's episode. If everything that's on the books for tomorrow, you are not going to want to miss tomorrow's episode. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.